Have you ever had a miraculous encounter? I'll be talking to regular people, just like you and me, who have had experiences in life where they knew this cannot be explained by man. This can't be explained by science. This is a divine intervention from God. This is a miraculous encounter. Stay tuned. Hey Chris, welcome to Miraculous Encounters.
How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks
So
for
today I'll be interviewing Christopher Lawson, who also happens to be my right-hand partner, my husband. And today we're talking about a great topic that's often not really talked about, and that's miracles, miraculous encounters. So first I want to just start by reading the definition of a miracle. But before I read it, let me ask you, what is your definition of a miracle?
That's a good question. My definition of a miracle is anything that happens in a divine aspect, something that's out of your control, that it don't always have to be something that you asked for or prayed for, but it's just something that's out of your control, that's out of the ordinary, that's sent from God, that happens on your behalf. That's considered a miracle. That's what I think a miracle is.
Okay, great answer, because that actually sounds a lot like the definition. So the definition, the dictionary definition that is a surprising and welcome event that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. So I heard the word divine, and it's also in the dictionary definition. So let's get straight to it. So I asked you to, talk to me today to tell me about a time that you had a miraculous encounter. And anything you want to share, it could be something small, something big, but anything that to you was definitely a miraculous encounter.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be able to share this. So I actually had an encounter maybe around the year 2012 where there was a situation where I was working at a recording studio and I was in my brokest point in life financially. I was trying to get to a point where, I can actually make some good money in the studio. I wasn't there yet. But I knew that the position I was in at the studio, I was in a leadership position, so I couldn't just leave at will. I could, but if I did, a lot of things would go awry with the interns or whatnot. So there was this one particular night where, like I said, my finances wasn't where they needed to be, so I contacted my brother to try to borrow some money. Now, I'm Midtown Atlanta, and I had to get to Fairburn, and for people who don't know, that's about a 30-minute drive. But I had no gas in my truck, under E. I knew that if I left, I had to be back at a certain time before the studio owner woke up out of his sleep and just saw, where is this guy? Mm-hmm. My brother told me, don't leave if you don't have gas. And I said, I'm coming, I got it. So I hop in my truck, and it would be like a movie because my phone, I had one bar left on my phone, too. I'm like, oh man, my battery's about to go dead. No gas. Hit traffic, downtown Atlanta traffic, and it's backed up. So I'm just like, okay, if I don't look at the gas needle, if I don't look at nothing, I'm going to be able to, my anxiety kicking in. I said, I got to fly down here to be able to be back at a certain time, and I'm going faster, burning all my gas out. Long story short, I get an exit away from my brother's house and break down. Now, it was a lot culminated up to this point because I was already kind of battling some stuff, trying to run from God here and there, and he was already showing me stuff. So this was kind of like to the normal person passing by, he just broke down. But I knew he broke down. That's it. Like, man. But I'm still pushing on. So I got out the car, a truck rather, and walked up to the Waffle House nearby. And I got in there. I was like, hey, guys, if anybody can just help me, I need to use the phone real quick. And nobody was trying to hear me. They gave me cold shoulder. They said, nah, it's late at night, and this guy was just being a total butthole. Got back out and I said, okay, you know what? I have no gas. I got to walk to my brother's house from now. And I'm on the side of the interstate. So I got out and I started walking. Now, on this walk, that's what things started to get.
The walk.
This what things started to get, things started to get real on that walk. So I decided I'm going to try really praying and not like the way that my daddy taught me how to pray or church taught me how to pray or my mom. I was like, I just got to talk to God because I was like, hey, listen, I don't have nothing. Mm-hmm. I got to get back to the studio. If I don't make it to the studio, I'm going to lose that. Everything I'm trying to work for is just going to go under God. I was like, I need to make it. I was like, God, just help me. Mm-hmm. Now, by this time, my phone went dead. That's the reason why I had to go to use Waffle House phone. So I have no contact with nobody. I'm just walking on the interstate. And my truck is back. And it has a bad tag on it. So if the police come behind me, they're going to tow my truck.
So you had a lot going on.
Yeah. All right. So I asked God on that road. I said, God, if it's anything, if you real at this point, just show me I need some help. And I wasn't really thinking in that moment, but I was just like, I'm tired of going through this same cycle. I want to make it. I want to be able to just get some money. I know I got to pay my brother back. All right. Man, it was this big tractor trailer that came by and blew me. And when it blew me, I literally caused me to look over to the rafter, like I was going to hold on to the silver rafter that's against it. On this rafter, I saw a jug. Now I was like, okay, cool. I thought nothing of it. I was like, okay, cool. I can get the jug and I can walk to the gas station and just ask somebody for $5-10 to put in the jug. And I'm good. I'm happy. I got the jug, and I picked this jug up, and it had a liquid in it. And I was like, oh, man, I can't put gas on top of water.
Right.
Opened up the jug, and I poured it out, and the wind's still blowing out here, so stuff started splashing. And there's nothing but gasoline coming out of the jug.
Wow.
Yeah. Immediately, I turned it up, and I looked
You didn't
back.
waste all of it, did you?
I looked back in the same direction. I was like,
wow.
And it was like, okay, God, if you heard me, wait a minute. It just blew me away. I was like, you heard me. Mm-hmm. There's no way gas is going to be in a windshield wiper jug sitting on the side of the highway waiting for somebody. Why is gas in there? Right. Why didn't somebody, it blew me away. So I get the gas jug, and I'm like, oh, man, I poured half of the gas out now. Like, I didn't realize it was gas. I get to the BP, and I was like, okay, I can ask somebody for some more. And there was this lady talking on her phone. I remember she was driving this Jeep Cherokee, this white lady talking to her phone. And I was about to ask her for money. I was about to say, hey, I'm not a junkie or nothing like that. She didn't even look at me. And she kept her head down, and she had $5 in her hand and walked up to me. And I was trying to say something to her. She was like, and she got in her Jeep and drove off. Now, by this time, I'm blown away because I'm like, oh, man, I feel like I wanted to cry. I'm like, okay, God, I wanted to get back to the truck. Yeah. I ran back to my truck, finally got there. There was a gas can sitting behind my truck. When you talk about a miraculous encounter, how God came through, then my brother pulled up. He said, hey, man, I didn't know if you had made it or not. And I was like, God, nobody's going to understand that. That was my miraculous encounter. And I knew that he was real. He just back to back to back to back stacked the miracles on. It was after the fact that I realized, I was like, dang, that was God. In the midst of me, trying to pursue a frivolous career, even that, and trying to pursue, something that wasn't wholly in what he wanted me to do, he still stole me himself in a miraculous way.
That's awesome.
And that's my experience.
That's awesome. You said something profound. You said nobody else would understand. I think a lot of times we try to understand other people's encounters, and because it didn't happen to us, we believe it's not real. And there's a lot of disbelief because people have to go through things themselves. This was your encounter, and it's amazing. Like, everything from beginning to end sounded to me as you said, like that, a very divine encounter. Let me ask you this. What was the pivotal moment for you where you knew that this was not coincidence, because people like to throw out the word coincidence, where you knew this was a divine intervention from God? Like, what was that moment?
When the lady wouldn't look at me and had the money out, I knew instantly. I was like, yeah, angels, God, something.
Yeah.
Something, you know. That's why I say before, I'm a believer, so I don't want to sound biased to people who aren't a believer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even people who are not a believer will say something. You know it's something. It's not of this world. Mm-hmm. I knew what it was at that point. You know, you could call the gas in the jug coincidence. Mm-hmm. People can brush it off, say, yeah, somebody probably. But the lady wouldn't look at me. And
she already knew.
It's like she knew what I was coming for. It was weird. She was in stride the whole time. She didn't see me coming or nothing. She was in stride out of the store, and she was on her phone. And that was the moment I was like, man, that was God. Like, this stuff is real. What, you know, all the stuff I've been hearing about. You know, you read about miracles happening in the Bible. You only think of it in one aspect based on what you can imagine it being like. You put this whole scene together in your head, and that was, you know, that was the moment. I was like, oh yeah, God real. Definitely.
So I have another question.
Yeah.
When you look back to your life prior to this experience, is it safe to say that this experience changed you? I know you said you were a believer before. Do you feel like this experience caused you to believe more, or did it just heighten your belief? What did this experience do for you moving forward?
Yeah, I would be lying to say it didn't change me, because it was a new experience. So naturally, I saw something I never saw before. So I was, you know, I'm like, oh man, that was different. I'm going to always remember that. Did it change the walk that I was on? No. You know, I'm being totally honest, just in a personal experience, because I still was like, hey, I gotta. And there was another experience down the line. It was another miraculous that, you know, I may tell the viewers about it another time. That experience is the one that really changed my life, to make me say, okay, you know what? I'm all for the Most High now. But that experience right there was a segue. That was the one that was like, okay, I know He watching me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had more than one encounter. So I look forward to hearing about the other one. And I'm sure everyone else wants to hear that one too. But just knowing that you can say that it was like a trigger for you. You said you knew then God was looking at you. You knew He was looking at you because this was a encounter. So let me ask you this. What would you tell someone out there that's listening or watching that doesn't believe? Well, this is a two-part. Okay, so you have the people that believe in Christ, they believe in God, but they don't believe He still performs miracles because, you know, they haven't actually themselves, and that's why I mentioned that earlier, that profound statement about it happened to me. A lot of times because they themselves haven't experienced it, or maybe they don't know they've experienced it, or because they haven't seen someone raised from the dead, or they haven't seen the burning bush, or, you know. And then also, so that's the first part. What would you tell those people who don't believe God still operates in miracles because they don't see those things they probably read about in the Bible? And then the second part is, what about those who just don't believe? They just straight up don't believe. What would you tell them? So it's a two-part.
Yeah, so to answer the first question, you know, just because it's not documented doesn't mean it's not happening or it hasn't happened. So, you know, I won't want to say you can't call yourself a believer or whatever, but I would just encourage believers to go beyond what the only examples you read in the Bible, because that's limiting Christ. Is saying, okay, He only did X, Y, Z, and if we don't see this, it's not a miracle. That's what I would say. Mm-hmm. Open your mind a little more to go beyond and just try to, you know, ask God to unlock that mystery. Because miracles still do happen. And then also the second part of that question, ask yourself, what are the Bible days? What is that? you know, a lot of times people say, "Oh, that was only in the Bible days," but what does that mean? You know, is that a time period or a certain cutoff time, or did God just say, you know what, the Bible days are done, and the rest of it? What are these days then? Mm-hmm. That would mean we are in the last days. So that means you need to do more believing. Now, to answer the second question, to a person who doesn't believe, just keep living. Simply because you don't believe doesn't make something true. It just means you haven't experienced, you know, that aspect of life yet. It's an experience that will change you for the better. It's nothing to be scared of. I encourage you to, if you don't believe anything, just try to just read the Word of God and give it a chance. Give it a shot. And then say, I don't want to. But don't just blindly say I don't want to believe in miracles, because, you know, there's a part of people that say, okay, if I believe in miracles, that means I have to believe in angels. Then if I believe in angels, that means I have to believe in spirits. If I believe in spirits, that means I have to believe in demons. If I believe in demons, that means I have to believe in God. And all this stuff comes, and, you know, just give it a shot. Try it out, you know, and then weigh it against everything else and make your decision from there.
And there's something else. Thank you so much, Chris. Something else you said, also profound, when you said that don't limit God. We limit him and think that he can only do what we think he can do, but he already told us that his ways aren't our ways. His thoughts aren't our thoughts. God can show up in many ways of our lives if we don't limit him, if we just allow him. And sometimes we need to turn off the noise and look around us, because there's miracles happening around us every day.
Right.
Every day. And I feel like we're missing out because we're limiting God. We're not giving him a chance. And the thing about God is he never gives up on us. So as long as we hold on to even a small amount of belief, I believe that God will show up and he will do miraculous things like he did for you with the gas can and the lady who wasn't even looking at you and knew. It's almost like God just spoke to her. The Spirit spoke to her, and she didn't probably even notice herself. But that's how God operates. That's how he operates. And everything, and I can't wait to hear the second story. So we're going to hold off on that one. Yeah. But Chris, I thank you so much for sharing your miraculous encounter with us. And I hope this was a great experience for those watching and listening. And stay tuned, because we'll have more Miraculous Encounters talks, and we'll be back with more. Thank you so much, Chris.